Yeah, so my name is Brittany Ainsworth. I sell chicken for a living, which is pretty fun. Most of you guys, I feel like I was going to recognize some faces. Do you guys go to the mall to hang out and eat chicken at all? Anyone? We love our teenager groups. Every time we don't have school, I'm like, yes, we get a bunch of our kiddos who come and just hang out with us. I have several of my employees that actually go to school here. So don't listen to what they say about me, though. It can be kind of crazy. But yeah, so I grew up locally. I grew up in Vero Beach, Florida, which is just up the road, about an hour and a half or so. I grew up in Chick-fil-A. That's why I love talking to kids that are y'all's age, because literally this is when my career began, and I didn't even know it. Chick-fil-A's the best. It's the best food. It's the best people. We love other people, and that's just, I tell people I sell chicken for a living, but truly, I'm in the people business. I love just hanging out with kiddos like y'all. I love hanging out and enjoying what my team is doing and watching what they do to succeed every single day. So the main thing, the reason why I started kind of down the path of owning Chick-fil-A, ironically, was because I just didn't like to listen to what other people said, right? I like to make my own plan and figure out my own decisions and decide kind of what was next for myself. So that was kind of the instigation into owning my own business. Now, if I just left it at that and just said forever and just kind of stopped there, that probably wouldn't have worked, right? So I had to kind of figure out my why. So could anybody tell me, like, okay, I'm in culinary because of this? Or they said I have some tourism kids that are in here as well. What was the other class? Yeah. Do you guys know, anybody can throw out just like why are you in this class? Or why did you decide to kind of focus on in these areas? Anybody? Yeah. Or a couple, I'm sorry. Yeah. Variety, right? Opening up your world. What about you? Yeah? There's a lot that goes on in this area with tourism. We ebb and flow a lot with that. So yeah, what I tell people is once you figure out kind of what makes you happy, you got to figure out your why within that, right? So my path has not been easy at all with Chick-fil-A. It is a great company to work for, but also just being in business for yourself kind of sucks sometimes, right? This year has been very hard when it comes to that, but there's been several ebbs and flows in my career. One of them being when I had gone through the entrepreneur path with Chick-fil-A. I had saved up enough money, which is very hard to do at 26. This is 6 years ago now. Right as I had gotten told, yes, you get to have your own Chick-fil-A. This is where you're going. This is going to be your store. The next week, I found out I was pregnant. And so about 6 months later is when I actually started my restaurant. So you can imagine how large at that point, walking into my first day in my new store, doing the pregnancy waddle. Have you seen that, right? Your legs kind of go out. Trying to get all these people to listen to what I had to say and promise that I'm a professional, while like peeing every 5 minutes. And my entire store was 11 people. That was it. That's how tiny my store was. And it was such a stressful first month. I ended up having my baby 2 months early. About 5 weeks right into the beginning of my store. And as I had my baby, it was right as the first month of my restaurant had finished. And any of you guys that understand business know that you kind of pay your bills for the month, you understand all the sales for the month, and you kind of, at the end of the month, you come up with what's called a P&L. Have you guys heard of that at all? A profit and loss statement, okay? So you see all the money you made and the bills you paid, and at the end of it, as a business owner, you don't get a paycheck, right? You get whatever's left, right? Guess how much was left after that first month for me? I just had my baby. I'm actually still in the hospital. My P&L had just, guess how much was left? Any guesses? Just random numbers. Nope. Lower. Yeah. I made $52. my first month. $52. So I'm in the hospital. Okay, I haven't worked in 6 months because I was traveling and learning about Chick-fil-A. Very, very pregnant, all the medical bills that come with that. I finished my first P&L. I'm literally in the hospital bed. And I get the email that says, okay, great, please write yourself a check for $52. See you next month. I'm like, what? Do this? What am I doing? What am I doing? Why am I doing this? I worked so hard for about 5 years along the process. But what I came back to is my why, okay, after several days of being emotional. But I love the idea of offering a place for young people or people that are just kind of starting over. It doesn't have to go with age, but people who are beginning their career to find a successful place to learn and to kind of skyrocket from, right? So one of the main sentences that I say to people all the time of my why is I want to appreciate those who have come before us and to prepare those who are coming. So that's my why. I want to appreciate all that is Chick-fil-A and the reasons why we are the company that we are today and what brought us here. But none of that matters if we're not preparing the next generation of people who are going to take care of it, right? Y'all are our next generation. I love talking to teenagers at my store about, like, what are you going to do? How are you going to do it? Let's figure it out together. Let's figure out your budget for it. Let's figure out how you're going to inspire people. And so that is my why. And in those moments, starting right at the beginning and then several moments after during COVID, operating a restaurant during COVID, especially in the mall. We were closed for 2 months. All the world over going to sell food. Nobody's coming to us. This year specifically with cost of food, my box of waffle fries used to cost $11. It costs $44 now for a box of waffle fries. That's how much it's gone up over the past year. So things like that, navigating that and understanding that as a business owner or in travel, especially things like COVID really hit that hard, right? Through those moments of difficulty, having your why is going to be so important, because when you're sitting on the floor of your bedroom crying because something is just going rough or somebody's stolen from you, that's happened to me several times in my business, coming back to your why is going to be extremely important. So as you guys are here now, start trying to figure out, you don't have to have it all figured out, but start trying to put those building blocks together of why you're doing this, because that's going to kind of ground you throughout the moments of struggle later on. So as far as tips and tricks, there aren't really tricks, right? You just got to kind of know how to navigate each situation. But there's going to be 3 things that you guys need to know how to understand and also be successful in any business, right? I sell chicken. That just so happens to be what I do. I don't care if you teach people how to build Legos on YouTube. All of those kind of apply to all, right? So the first one is actual ownership. Anybody have a random definition of ownership? What is ownership? Yeah. What else? Anything else? Any addition to that? Nothing? Oh, do I have one? Yeah. 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 So it's something that you have, right, that you possess, but it's also whatever that thing is represents you, right? So my business operates with has anybody been to the mall? You know that stupid little picture of me that's on the front counter? It's right in the middle. I've asked my contractor to take it off several times. He won't do it. But my business literally operates with my face on the front of it. A lot of 99% of what happens in my business, I'm not doing. But I have to still own. So part of what I try to tell people, I want to own my own business, right? I want to own my own business. Okay, well, you've got to truly own it, right? going to take responsibility for everything that happens, every decision that someone else makes, every hire that I bring in the door, every person I fire, every ebb and flow. If you want to own your own business, you've got to own it, right? You have got to take responsibility for every iota of movement or action or word that those four walls. And now a lot of what I do is actually outside of my four walls. Understand ownership before you go down that path. People that are in business for themselves who like to point the finger, right, and say, well, I'm not successful because this happened, or that person, or this person who it's very easy to be like, well, poor me, that happened, sad. Well, now what, Are successful are separated from the not successful truly a lot of the time by true ownership, okay? So I give COVID for a big example, right? Kind of hit us all square in the jaw. So we were closed. The whole mall was closed. How easy would it have been for me and my team to just say, well, let's go get other jobs for now. Let's just go. A lot of people did that, in the store or in the malls. Other stores they went to go work for like Costco for a little while or Walmart or whatever to just say, well, I don't have a choice. Our business isn't open, so I'm going to go do something else. Well, two of my leaders decided that was not going to be their option. They were not going to do that. We were going to figure out how to operate despite all of these things. So did any of you guys go and visit our store at all during COVID or the mall at all? Do you guys, anybody remember? We operated and figured out and set up an entire drive-through in the mall parking lot. So we went to Home Depot, bought all of our own cones. We got our Chick-fil-A tent out just so people knew that we were there. We went and printed signs at fast signs right down the road to tell people that we were actually open. And two of my leaders within 48 hours had all of that planned out. And so it ended up being about 6 days only that we were closed from the time that the mall shut down until we had our drive-through up and operating. We had iPads in the parking lot. We had 4 or 5 kids that were out there directing traffic, making sure we had, because that was a traffic jam a lot, because there was no place was open. There was no restaurants open at all. So for guys like in the semi one, stop real quick and eat. So we had put signs all along 95 to kind of tell them that we were still open. And then by the time we had almost reopened from the mall, we were actually breaking even and starting to actually make money. We could have operated that business for several more months in that way, not relying on the mall whatsoever. So giving those moments of struggle or situation that just is completely out of your hands and something is just handed to you, socked to you in the jaw, like I said, those instincts of truly owning what you do and truly taking actual making decisions that will kick your business forward. That's going to make the difference between success and not success. So ownership. The next one is people. It does not matter with what you do or whatever your passion is if you are not able to teach somebody else about it and have them stand next to you and do it with you, right? My business is completely run now by other people. I'm there. I get to hang out and do the fun stuff and talk to my customers and do stuff like this because my team is killing it. So much so that they're like, oh, okay, Brittany, you can go do speak at schools and stuff. Go have fun because we're doing it now. But the first 2 years of my first Chick-fil-A that started with that bad paycheck, I did not fully realize that yet. I did a lot of it myself. I was working operations. I, paid every bill. I ran every payroll. I did all of the training myself. And so by the end of the first year and a half of my business, I had 2 ulcers. I had lost like 70 pounds. I was extremely depressed. My husband and I barely spoke. Very I had envisioned for myself. Because if any of you guys have had family or you work in the restaurant industry at all, it is very hard. And it can suck the life out of you very, very quickly. And so my husband basically had a come to Jesus conversation. Have you ever had one of those? Have you ever heard of that? Where it's like you either do something differently or this is gonna be bad. And so my husband said, listen, this is not what I signed up for. This is not something that we want to continue. And so we've got to pivot. Something's got to change. Because you've got to be a mom to this kid. You've got to be a wife to me. And you have to actually life, or this is going to be something that destroys you. So I decided to kind of pick 3 people within my business. 2 of them didn't end up working out, but it was good practice for me to defer and to teach something that I was really good at and give it to someone else. Now, I don't know if you guys have ever done that, if you've tried to like teach a little brother or sister something, a game that you play, or even if it's like a sport when you're on a team, a new player that comes in, you're trying to teach them something. I don't know about you, but that can be very frustrating, right? Especially if it's something that you are really good at. So say like you're on a sports team and you have a play that you really like, okay, I can do this really well. Teaching someone else and then saying, okay, go ahead, the game comes up, now it's your turn. You get to go do this play, and I'm going to stand back here and watch. Ooh, that's hard, right? That's what I practiced for about the last year. My first Chick-fil-A was out in Texas. The last year, I practiced teaching somebody something I was really good at, and then actually giving it to them and letting them own it, just like I owned it for the past year and a half. And that really sucked for about a year and a half. And we moved back to Florida, and I had my Chick-fil-A here. Now on December 1st. And so we kind of had to start over and start doing that again. People that we would put a lot of work into, and you kind of had to start over. But now I can tell you that instinct of I am only successful if someone else knows and understands and is now an expert in something that I'm good at. That is when I am successful, is when I have deferred something that is a part of why we do what we do and taught somebody how to do it really, really well. So as far as like the business ownership aspect of it, again, it could be food, it could be travel, it could be like a travel agency, all within that umbrella of business owning. If you can't truly understand and feel comfortable with taking something that you're really good at, teaching, don't just be like, okay, here's this aspect, go do it. No, you have to actually teach them, which is a painful process, right? Sometimes. Okay, I'm going to find someone new, and I'm going to show them something about what I do, and I'm going to let them own it. Having that instinct and having that be a part of your culture, and that way the people that you taught then turn around and do that to other people, and then they turn around and do that to other people. Some of my favorite employees, don't tell them I said this, are some of my 15 and 16-year-old team members, because they are so excited about what they get to do, especially when a leader, one of their leaders, gives them something that says, okay, I'm really good at this. I'm going to teach you how to be really good at this. I don't care if you're 14. I don't care if you're, 57, whatever it is. I'm going to teach you this, and I'm going to let you own it. Gosh, watching teenagers do that is the best, because then they tell everybody about it, right? So if you guys go to my store at any point and you kind of watch the crazy chaos that goes on behind the counter. Every single person that you watch in the position that they're in, they are owning it. They're doing this. They're talking to people. They're engaging with the team members. If any of my customers come up to any of my team members and talk to them, that team member is going to go and they're going to fix it. They're not going to be like, hey, there's a problem. I don't know what to do. They're going to run. They're going to run a lot of times. Unfortunately, they run into each other a lot. But they're going to run and they're going to fix it because they have been given that problem and they're going to own it and they're going to fix it. So having that of sewing together the culture of your business, that true owning, deferring ownership piece is going to be huge. Okay. Any questions about that? I feel like that's a. And just actually, the last piece of it is actually enjoying what you do, right? Enjoy it. Hang out amongst it. Soak it up. Tell people about it. I tell people a lot, sometimes what you're good at and what you enjoy doing are actually two different things, right? I'm very good at math, right? I can ace a math class all day, but I actually hate it. And so I would never actually try to do anything within that world because it would make me miserable, right? Even though I'm really good at it. So as you guys are this is what is perfect about classes like this in high school, right? Because you get to kind of figure out, okay, this is maybe something I've been good at and that I have a talent in, but now you get to kind of practice and see like, okay, is this something I actually like? Am I enjoying this process? Do I like this industry? A lot of times, kids who want to do something in the performance arts, so like singing or acting or whatever, yes, they can be really good at it, but functioning within that world is miserable. And so unless you're, this is what makes me happy, it makes me thrive, I can kind of push all these negative things aside within this business because I actually really, truly love that why that we talked about, making sure that you come back to that because that will make or break you in those hard moments. So making sure you see the difference between something that you might be talented in and something you actually love to do. Because unfortunately, sometimes those align, right? Hopefully they will eventually. But sometimes they can be different things. Sound good? Awesome. I'd love to answer any questions. It can be about me. It can be about my store. It can be about just Chick-fil-A in general. Any questions you guys have right off the bat? Yes. The lowest is 14, and I would hire lower if the law let me. My kids are my favorite part of what I get to do. The energy that you guys bring to a business and the excitement around new stuff is just awesome. So.